Hi, it's Etharal here for EGN, and today we are back with our Let's Play for Crusader Kings 2, the Warhammer Mordecai-Heimschnitt, and obviously we have been playing as the second Peter Skinster of the Duchy of Tauben, obviously with quite a fair bit of land to our name, pretty much being the main power block in the west of Middenland, so in a pretty strong position. Obviously in the last episode we've just sort of been licking our wounds, trying to get back into a better situation to hopefully be able to actually get further on and hopefully begin to actually expand the lands that the actual Duchy of Tauben does own. You know, we're just sort of having a little bit of time, want to obviously make sure that we're training our forces and everything. So with there being an actual rebellion, a peasant revolt that has actually launched, Peter does decide that actually he is going to assemble his 3,600 guys and actually aim to wipe out this actual peasant revolt himself. He wants to, like I said, obviously basically bloody his forces and get them to the point where they will actually be able to be of some use. He decides not to go in himself though. Basically the reason being is obviously the last thing he would want to do would be to accidentally die to a peasant revolt. It would not be the best way for him to end his career in the old world, it's safe to say. And so here he is, obviously just here with his obviously second wife, hopefully looking to try and be able to actually expand his family even further, obviously with his 3 sons and 2 daughters from his first wife, who did unfortunately pass away through, I'd like to think, complications due to pregnancy. She was obviously pregnant at the time when she did die of natural causes, would seem to be a fair assumption of the reason why. And so here we're just having a look through. We are going to change up our actual councillors so that we're actually getting some claims on lands, on the hope that we will actually be able to expand a little bit further. Hopefully, obviously, if our king was, or our emperor, I suppose I should say technically, although to me he is very much just an elector count of the empire, very much obviously work like the Holy Roman Empire, or at least in style for these, and hopefully he might be able to pass away if we can get a young sort of son, or his young son as the actual emperor, then we would be able to start expanding. So we are going to hope for that, and Peter does begin to plan out. Obviously it is a case very unlikely that it is going to happen, but I do believe with our emperor being in his sort of late 30s that it might be something that could happen if he was to suddenly die. Obviously we want to make sure that Peter wants to make sure that he is in a position to be able to capitalize on that. He is also going to expand the actual technology in Holdorf, when there does appear to be somebody who has been revealed as being a worshipper of Nurgle, the plague chaos god in the Empire. Appears to be a revolt down in the south that is going on, that has turned out that it's actually a revolt led by the Nurglites in the hope of maybe being able to claim the Empire, which is obviously not something that is likely going to be allowed to happen. And if it does get any further, then Middenland, Reichland and everybody will more than likely be willing to step in and hopefully be able to remove these guys. Now here you can see that there is a mention that I could possibly press a claim. I still can't do that, however, because of obviously the war that's going on, which is not brilliant, but we will obviously have to deal with that. So we are assigning ourselves with the new commander. It is very much just a case, unfortunately, that because of the humans nature of them, our actual commanders for our armies not exactly what I would call worthy of the title of commander. Unfortunately, they are better than nothing, so Peter does decide to hand out the titles so that if he ever does decide to go to war, then he will at least be able to get some people. And so here you can see that there we have just been looking at giving our actual Chancellor, getting him a wife. Basically we're going to just sort of keep him nice and happy, give him an actual wife to be able to meet his ambitions, and although he is low born, so it is very much a case that he isn't really able to marry and or patrimonially, it does have to be matrimonially, which is not a massive deal breaker or anything like that for him. You know, he's still happy just being able to marry into the nobility from obviously a lowborn birth. And so you can see that my son is coming along nicely, just checking to make sure how obviously the votes are going, and they are obviously going in his favour. 3 against 2, but those two are split between two separate people who are, strange enough, the two actual vassals that we do have, which is, you know, dealable there, really not too much of a worry or anything. When we do hear about rumours in the north of an actual war going on, as it does seem like the forest goblins up in the north of the Empire, who come out to bother people every now and then, have managed to claim some lands. I'd like to think that those are quite forested lands, as they are obviously forest goblins, and they have actually been able to claim those lands for themselves and be able to push things out. I think it's safe to say that is not going to last very long. We do manage to send an army ourselves to be able to support the war against them and drive them back, as they did try to move into the northern Middenland, which obviously is not something that we are really going to actually be willing to allow or anything like that. So here is, obviously you can see there is an actual one of our guys, just seeing how he's all going, set him up obviously with, I believe, actually setting him up, getting him ready for hopefully being able to give him some lands in the future, maybe make him as one of our vassals, so that it's not just Peter Skinster and his actual direct son who is, you know, just going to be leading lands. We'll hopefully be able to expand it into further into the Skinster family. Obviously, one of the big things we would like to do would be obviously actual vassal in Shieldwell. When hopefully his mother dies, he will obviously be able to get a claim in some of the northern lands, which is obviously just above an impassable terrain, but hopefully we will be able to actually claim that land as well, bring that into the fold, which would definitely be an ideal situation to find ourselves in. Not something that's likely to happen anytime soon, but you never know, it might. So all we can do is wait and see and hope for the best, pretty much. And then hopefully obviously we will be able to expand further. Here we are just obviously looking at increasing obviously our technology, seeing how everything is actually going. This guy, we really should try and probably get him a little bit higher, as if he does like us more, he would be willing to keep our family rather than trying to claim the actual title of Tauben for himself. There we are, just obviously setting up another education when we hear news that obviously our wife has confirmed she is actually pregnant. Very, very good situation to be in. Hopefully she will be able to choose us with another heir. Who knows, maybe even a male heir. Obviously not a direct heir. We will obviously be keeping our current heir as the actual leader, as he's our eldest son, although it still doesn't hurt to obviously make sure that we do get some more. And so here you can see that in this case we have managed to get our ambition to amass wealth. We have over 500 gold sitting in our personal treasury, which is a nice amount. We can actually look at potentially expanding and improving on some lands and things like that, and pretty much have a choice of improving even whatever it is that we actually want. So we're doing reasonably well, even though it is obviously peacetime. We're not managed to really do many wars or expand our lands ourselves. We are having to sort of bide our time, unfortunately. Obviously, if you are enjoying these videos, please do be sure to subscribe. I'd love to see the support, and of course it will obviously send you notifications of when new videos come out, which are obviously happening pretty regularly, good fair few times a day. Sorry, not a day, even a good few times a week. I wish it could be good few times every single day. Unfortunately, not able to do this quite full time yet or anything like that at all. And so then you can see that obviously we have managed to increase getting a new barracks, which is going to be looking at an extra 125 guys, I believe that was there, which is obviously going to be a nice big chunk. Obviously there will be bonuses from the keeps and things like that, which will improve those numbers as well, so we can get a larger force coming out of those actual levies if we do ever need them. If we do manage to obviously declare war again, would really be a case, do really get it so that our liege lord is actually becoming, be brilliant if he became sort of incapable, or obviously he did die and his youngest son would be able to, his young son would actually take the throne. So obviously then in the regency we would be able to press our claims. Not something that's likely to happen anytime soon, but you know, we can still hope out and definitely keeping our fingers crossed for that one, as we are obviously surrounded by quite a few counts, and so that would put us in a very, very good position for Peter to be able to expand his lands quite quickly. I think it's safe to say he's getting a little bit tetchy there, and so then he does manage to receive word from his Chancellor that they have managed to find an actual claim for this land from some person, likely very distant relative sort of thing, who very only, you know, minor sort of ability to be able to say that we are actually, you know, have a right to rule this, but it is still something, so that is better than nothing. Obviously, as you can see there, we are our actual son ourselves, we are his actual educator, he is our ward. We are making sure that he is going to be getting traits that we are going to find useful. Wanting to have him has quite a bit of a statesman if we can, obviously, so his diplomacy and his stewardship would be important, and things like his actual military might, his martial skill, not quite so important. I think one thing we will do though is, as we are getting in sort of older and things like that, not at the minute, but obviously certainly in maybe a decade or two, we'll look at saving up a little bit and everything, so that this guy, when he does actually assume the throne from us, we will basically be able to pay to get him a Pegasus map. And there you go, we have actually heard of in Reichland, there is another actual guy who has finally been revealed as being a worshipper of chaos. So it does seem like there is quite a few chaos cults popping up in the Empire at the minute. I think it's very safe to say that we need to basically get some actual witch hunters into the southern lands. We do keep getting the odd event saying that, you know, the witch hunters are coming to our lands and things, although we seem to be very, very much pious. Obviously, we aren't worshipping Sigmar directly. We worship the wolf god Ulfrin, I believe it is. I may be pronouncing that wrong, obviously, or I may have gotten that completely wrong. I do believe it is reasonably accurate, but if obviously anybody does know that it is different, please do be sure to let me know, and obviously I will make sure for future times. And so there, what we have obviously managed to do is the current emperor, the actual his heir, we have managed to get him betrothed to our eldest daughter, who is also 15, so it's looking very much like, unless something was to change around massively and the actual guy, the emperor, was to die very suddenly now, which is not something we can actually organise, unfortunately, then we would, in this case, we are probably going to have to wait a couple of generations to be able to get into a situation where this guy is actually going to be, you know, able to expand, or, you know, I think that the only thing we can really hope for now, as the heir is about to come of age, is that for somehow, however we manage to do it, that the emperor does actually become somebody who is incapable and therefore is having to rely on the regency. Not something that's going to be happening anytime soon, I suspect, but who knows, when he gets older and things like that, as he becomes less able to lead, never know, it might happen. So Peter is still going to focus on trying to expand his actual claims in Middenland, with obviously the aim being that eventually he can assume the throne of Middenland, and then who knows, maybe even the whole of the Empire. And so there you go, we have also just seen, and it has been again confirmed, that our wife is pregnant with her second child, so definitely expanding the family quite far. I think it's safe to say that Peter's line is safely assured, and not just this Peter, but our father, also called obviously Peter Skinster from the earlier episodes, is actually his desire to be able to make a dynasty that is going to survive. I think it's a case that is now going to almost certainly be happening, as he is now, you know, obviously his 3 children have all given children to the Skinster family, and so, you know, there are quite a few of them, and I do believe obviously my nieces and nephews, I will make sure they're all matrimonially married, as well as also I will try and get as many of my daughters as well, at least one of them, to be staying in our court and marrying matrimonially, so that they can actually, you know, be able to grow the family a good bit as well, and make sure that our family lineage is expanding as much as possible, just to build that buffer and make sure we're not going to, you know, be passing, you know, into obscurity and basically into the records of history rather than being current. So this is pretty much the situation there, as you can see with the family. You can see just how many of them are actually actually the skinsters, how quickly they have expanded there. So going to leave it there. I think for the next episode I am going to jump forward a little bit in time rather than playing them one directly after the other. So I do hope you enjoyed the video. Obviously, if there is anything you do want me to do for the next one, if you have any suggestions, do be sure to let me know in the comments below, and to keep an eye out for those new videos that are obviously going to be coming out in the very near future. Do be sure to subscribe, and I shall just sort of say then, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time here at EGN.